Thank you for joining our webinar. Today, we would like to discuss and present about CC-Link IE TSN. The topics that we are look at it is how to accelerating smart factory with the TSN technology. Because as you might know, today people's talking about how to achieve the smart factory. And one of the concern points that you need to consider is the network. So today I'll be as your presenter. I will turn on my camera. So hello, my name is Christian Arthur. You can call me Arthur. So I'm working for Mitsubishi Electric Asia. I'm responding as a ASEAN Strategic Marketing Group. I'm doing marketing, especially for CC-Link IE TSN. So we will start the presentation now, but if you have any question into this slide presentation, you can put your question into the chat room, and then our colleague will guide you to answer your question during the slide presentation. So let's start the presentation today. So in this presentation, in this webinar, we would like to inform you the agenda. The first one is the background. Of course, we need to know why the reason TSN technology come up into the picture in these days, and what is the reason also TSN is in the picture today. And the second one, of course, we would like to present about the concept. Of course, when we announce these new products or new networks, there's a concept, and also what is the benefits while people using this CC-Link IE TSN. And of course, the third one, we have use cases. These use cases, basically, we have a project reference, but unfortunately, we cannot show who is the users directly, but we can specify which industry are using CC-Link IE TSN currently. And also the next one is, of course, the product lineup that ready by Mitsubishi Electric that implementing or adopting CC-Link IE TSN technology. And of course, the conclusion, of course, this one will be answer what is your benefit or what is your benefit when you are using or adopting or implementing the CC-Link IE TSN. So let's start with the background. Okay, some of people now were still talking about how to require to meet the smart factory. Of course, there's a lot of points to meet the smart factory. For example, some people say, I want to integrate between my OT and IT. That one is also considered a smart factory already. But when you integrate OT and IT, also you want to improve the productivity and the quality of the factory line itself, and also improving facility and equipment efficiency. And the last thing is, of course, when you meet the smart factory, you want to have an easy device connectivity. So by these four factors, basically you can meet most people will meet smart factory requirement. But of course, smart factory, when you want to achieve this integration between OT and IT, and then you want to improve productivity, efficiency, and device connectivity, you need something sounds powerful for the networks. So that is the reason why the CC-Link IE TSN come up in the picture, because this one is one of the quite powerful network to support on your smart factory, because it's able to integrate the IT and OT integration, and then also can meet the high speed, high capacity, high accurate communication also. And then it's a simple engineering for those people doing the maintenance and engineering things. And also will be the product lineup is also extensive, because CC-Link IE TSN is able to communicate and mix communication. So the background itself, I believe some of you might heard about TSN technology. What is the TSN technology? So basically, TSN technology stands for time-sensitive networking. So it's a technology that we developed based on the standard, which is the IEEE and IEC. So in the TSN technology, we are enabling mixing of IT communication and TCP/IP devices in the same network. So as you can see on the drawing itself, there's some familiar communication that you ever see in the factory. For example, the TCP/IP communication, and then CC-link IE, or either IE field, IE control, or another industrial based on Ethernet base. And then what we are trying to do is we want to combine or mix the communication into the one line. So inside the one line, you have CC-link IE TSN, TCP/IP, and other network. The reason we are combined is also to meet the real time. Of course, you can do the prioritized control, time synchronization, and also now require some security also. Here's some trend of industrial network. I believe all of the attendants are quite familiar with on the 80s, which is quite powerful and quite famous on the RS-485 and RS-232, because until today, some of communication still able and require this 485 and 232. And on the 90s, some of come up different protocols or network. We can say maybe some of your factory or your customer using CC-link communication device net or so on. And also on the 20 to 2010, basically people know about Ethernet, IP, EtherCAT, and then CC-link IE field basic or IE control. And then the third level itself is now we are entering into the new network. Basically, the specification we are released on November, but the actual products for with the adopting the TSN technology, which is CC-link IE TSN, is announced on April 19. So this product basically is new products, but we can say we as Mitsubishi Electric is the first that having product ready with CC-link IE TSN or adopting the TSN technology. So when comes with the requirement on industrial network, of course, CC-link IE TSN is combines between Mitsubishi Electric factory automation and with open TSN technology. So-called now we develop is a CC-link IE TSN. And the background why we release this new communication is basically to meet the factory automation and IT integration. And also this one have to be international standard technology, and also high-speed, large capacity communication, high accuracy synchronization. So now on the second topics or in our agenda, we would like to talk about more. Of course, people start to ask, okay, what is the benefits or the features if, let's say, we implement the CC-link IE TSN into our when we promote to customers or when we implement it into the factory. So we start with the concept. Maybe some of you just now entering in the early stage on a webinar start. There's a video that is talking about the concept of TSN also, but in this case, as you can see, the concept of IE TSN is we would like to integrate OT and IT. Of course, we can meet the high speed and also accurate control, because high speed without accurate is also useless, we can say. I mean, people want to have a high speed but accurate now. And also the time sensitive networking or TSN, it able to achieve real-time communication with a time sharing method. So meaning is you have a different communication inside one line, but you can do time sharing. Which one is more priority between this communication? So, and also is also we would like to implement only one cable inside this CC-link IE TSN, but we have a different networks. And by adopting this technology, CC-link IE TSN is enable seamless cooperation between OT and IT system, and also is increasing our flexibility to apply the application itself. So as you can see below, there's one line, but there's three networks inside this cable. So the next one is now is talking about the features. There's a few points that we would like to highlight. Of course, the first one is TSN technology. The CC-link IE TSN is able to mixing different networks. So meaning you can have 2 networks in the same line or 3 networks or even more than 3. But of course, now based on our development stage is we are able to communicate in 3 communication in one single line. But in future, we would like to open until 5 or 8 communication in the one single line. And of course, the features is, of course, our CC-Link ITSN is able to compatible with products because we are open protocol. So a lot of devices, let's say using Ethernet-based communication, IP communication, or others is able to communicate with us with only one single line without preparing special module to talk to each devices. And the third things, we would like to meet the high speed and accurate communication, to improve the productivity. Meaning you can have a control communication and information communication mixing, but will not mess up the control communication. And a large capacity data bandwidth is enabled to integrate the control and information communication. And the last one is, of course, improve usability, meaning is a lot of people facing that very difficult to do setup programming, and during maintenance is a bit tedious. So by adopting this CC-Link ITSN, we believe that is reducing the engineering time even from the start setup, the programming, and also during maintenance time. So let's start with one by one of the features. So in this image, you can see maybe in your current factory, there's a lot of network. Maybe some of you have a CC-Link IE communication and also have a TCP IP communication. Other networks, it can be OPC-UA with Ethernet-based network. So this communication, normally you have to prepare every single wiring is different. So meaning you have to prepare 3 cables dedicated for CC-Link IE and then TCP IP and then also the OPC-UA. So it's quite costly when you do a wiring, and also you have to prepare a lot of modules and do a lot of setting programmings because you have to do three networks settings. But in the future, I mean, in the CC-Link ITSN, you can have one single cable line, but inside there's 3 communication. For example, like this one is CC-Link ITSN, TCP IP, and OPC-UA with the Ethernet base. As you can see on this image, you see the CC-Link ITSN is coexist with other protocols. As you can see on the below side, there's an IP camera with TCP IP communication. And also there's, we can say maybe some machine controllers that using other open networks, for example, like Ethernet-based OPC-UA or others Ethernet-based communication. So they are running in the same line, which is in the same cable, in the same network, CC-Link ITSN. So these IP devices is running through the high motion control and go through the up level. So all is running in a single network. So this is our demo kit that we have currently in our demo kits. So basically in this video, in this demo video, I would like to explain about the mixed control communication and IP communication. So in this demo kit, there's IQR master PLC, and then with the IQF is using SLMP communication and GOT as well. So let's start the video so you all can see how we mix the one line cable into this demo line.
Demo 1 explanation. Mixed control communication and IP communication. CC-Link IETSN communication is performed between IQR master, local station, to remote I/O, remote analog and inverter. IQF and GOT connect IP communication SLMP to the IQR master station through CC-Link IETSN. In this way, control communication and IP communication are mixed on the CC-Link IE TSN network, which is utilizing TSN technology as an industry's first open network.
So as you can see, the demo line, there's a mixing communication between IP and CC-Link IE TSN and the same line. So on the next slide, I would like to explain about there's a combination between control communication and information communication. So these two, control communication and information communication, they have their own bandwidth. And we would like to have a control communication remain at 500 microseconds, and information bandwidth is communication bandwidth is a transient one. So as you can see, is number one, number two is general TCP communication, and the rest is control communication, which is using CC-Link IE TSN. And in this case, we would like to show that even you mix the communication between control, the high speed required, or the transient communication or information communication, it won't be mess up the transfer data or the communication data. So the next slide, it will be explaining about how we maintain the control communication bandwidth, even the IP communication is on and off. In this demo video number 2, so control cycle is not affected even IP communication is mixed. In this case, the IP communication is using the vision camera and running through the CC-Link TSN and show into the PC through the web browser. So let's take a look at the video.
Demo 2. Control cycle is not affected even if control communication and IP communication are mixed. Here, the control cycle of CC-Link IE TSN is set at 500 microsecond. Now, the control cycle of CC-Link IE TSN is stable at 500 microsecond plus or minus 1 microsecond. When the vision sensor is stopped temporarily, the image of the vision sensor is stopped. The control cycle of CC-Link IE TSN is still stable at 500 microsecond even if there is no IP communication. When the vision sensor is operated again, data of vision sensor is transmitted to web browser through CC-Link IE TSN. Even if IP communication is mixed, the control cycle is stable at 500 microsecond plus or minus 1 microsecond.
Okay, so hope that video explain well on how the IP communication not mess up the control communication. So to achieve the high speed and accurate control, also the CC-Link IE TSN itself is they have a different command method. So in the CC-Link IE TSN, we are using its time sharing method, as you can see on this one. So the master will send directly to all the devices or all the select station at the same time. So it's quite different between the previous CC-Link IE field. Maybe some of you might ever use the IE field because the IE field is based on token passing method. So in the next slide is comparing between using CC-Link IE field and CC-Link IE TSN. Is if you look at it on the minimum communication cycle on CC-Link IE TSN is 31.25 microsecond, which is faster than CC-Link IE field. It's almost 16 times faster than the CC-Link IE. And the next one is also another features on CC-Link IE TSN itself is you are able to do a flexible system configuration to support your IoT system configuration. So as you can see on this typical system architectures, there's area A, which is on area B also. There's a various network configurations. We can implement it into line, star, and ring is possible to do it in your system configuration. And also, you are able to mixing of other network. As you can see, maybe on this area B, the machine X and Y, for example, in the actual condition is existing communication or networks, which is using industrial Ethernet base. But if you want to communicate, sometimes it might need some gateway or some translation, something like gateway, to able to communicate with others network, the new network that you want to expand. But since you are using CC-Link IE TSN, it won't be mess up the existing network because it's able to communicate directly to the CC-Link IE TSN communication. And on the other side, if you look at it on the right side, the machine A is also like the previous video. We are mixing the IP communication devices through and sending through the CC-Link IE TSN communication. And on the programming side, as you can see, if you are detected the configuration on the system, they are able to see which station are connected into the main PLC. And also you are able to do setting which one is basic priority. It means you can prioritize the station which one is low speed, basic period, or normal speed. So this one is in this parameter settings in the software one, in the CC-Link IE TSN configuration. So there's some comparison between the CC-Link IE field network and CC-Link IE controls previous. Of course, the CC-Link IE TSN is supporting full range speed from 1 gig to 100 max, and also is able to communicate to until 255 station. Compared to the previous communication is much higher. It's almost double than the previous one. And also the cyclic data size. Of course, if you compare now, of course, CC-Link IE TSN is still, current situation is still higher than IE field network, but comparing to IE control network is, of course, is much lower, but we are still under development on this one. So at the end of the day, CC-Link IE TSN is more than CC-Link IE control network. The next features is also, we call it improved usability, which is the last features of this that we would like to explain to all of you, is easy startup and easy engineering. For example, the case number 1, we would like to, the actual system configuration is like this, but when we will connect our programming tools or CC-Link IE TSN programming software, is when we connect directly to this PLC itself, it will reflect the actual configuration into our programming tools. So it's very make small effort to all the engineering members. And the second one is you can modification and expansion on the CC-Link IE TSN configuration system. As you can see, there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 station, but you would like to remove the station itself and you newly connected station. But in this IE TSN configuration, you can put this number 1, number 2 as left as a reserve station, so it won't evac. So the numbering of the station is easier. You can still count as 1, 2, 3, and the new one you can count as the 5th station. And also the easier, another easy setup, engineering and maintenance. The first one is the previous one. I believe we have to do a parametering registration to each slave. But in this case, in the CC-Link IE TSN, we just need to do it in the CPU module. And once you connected all the slaves module, it will automatically distribute it to the dedicated module. And also, when you do replace the station or slave station, when you take out the spoiled one and replace it to the new one, so basically the parameter will automatically distribute to the new one as the same as the previous slave station. And also, even you change the parameter on the slave station, you are able reflect on the CPU itself. So it will be synchronized automatically between the slave and the master module. And for the SD card is needed, of course, if let's say when the CPU internal memory size is not enough for parameter data storage. And another features on our software GXFox3, we're able to identify which communication line is broken. So from this diagnosis tools is we are able to see which line is spoiled, so we can check directly spot to the site easily. No need to do lining one by one or check one by one line. And also it's also supporting general diagnosis tools. So is, for example, like SNMP also can be used, and also is the general line monitoring tools like Wireshark can be used for this Sicilian TSN. And of course, this one is one of our quite important on this era, because now people start to talk about security on my PLC or my machine. They would like to have some features that able to protect someone allowing go into their PLC. So we have one feature, the simple security management, which is we are doing based on IP filtering. So we can do set which one is the illegal access, which one is IP is able to access to the PLC site. And also we can put some password on when you are entering into the communication. So we are entering into the Sicilian TSN use cases. So, but before that, I would like to say sorry, we cannot say that who's the customers currently use this Sicilian TSN due to the confidential things. But of course, when you're talking about Sicilian TSN, you can use it in any kind of industry. Of course, is the main industry, for example, like automotives, semiconductors, battery, flat panel display, F&B, pharmaceuticals. It's TSN is basically it can be utilized or use it at the any kind of industry. So general industry, because yeah, as you can see there. Sicilian TSN is able to communicate to IP communication mix any networks into the same line. So here are some use cases that we have. We have one of our customers, but I can say this one is in Japan. It's automotive. The application itself is paint shop. So it's as you can see, this one we can implement various topology, ring topology, and then line star connection. And also on the left side, the blue colors, it means why we put double. It means is the standard Ethernet is running at the same line with the Sicilian TSN. So even you have a control communication over here, or only this one is you just want to check the status of the devices. It won't mess the communication speed or the bandwidth of the control communication. So you can mix it all together in the Sicilian TSN. And the second one is we have one cases sample is in a semicon. As you can see in the machine A and machine B, there's I believe this machine A, this IP camera is using Ethernet devices, which is maybe is existing the IP camera. So this one we are able to use Syslin ITSN because Syslin ITSN is able to mix the communication between TSN and Ethernet devices. And also the machine B, you are able also to communicate with high servo motion control and the IP camera together without interrupting the high control motion communication. And the last but not least, also the one of sample case is with our servo in the machine. So we are able to communicate also with the existing machine vision sensors without additional module or additional wiring. And this IP communication won't affect the control performance of this servo application. Of course, now we are entering into the product lineup. The product lineup itself is basically we have a master module of the Syslin ITSN, and of course the servo motion module, and also supporting with the servo motors itself. And inverters also is able to communicate with Syslin ITSN, and also GOT as well is supporting on Syslin ITSN. And both products that we are showing here is ready products. So if you all guys interested into the Syslin ITSN, you can contact us. And if you want to do something like testing, please let us know also. Okay, finally we entering the conclusion. So it's very simple. I mean, there's a few points that you need to highlight it if you are the benefit that you are using Syslin ITSN. Of course, you are easily able to communicate between OT and IT. And the most features is you can mix different network because it's using by time sharing method. And then you can achieve the high speed and accurate control. And on the engineering side or the startup is reducing a lot on the startup engineering and maintenance time. Okay, on the next, after this conclusion, I would like to play some application which is taken last time on exhibition in Japan on 2019 in IIFES. So after this video, we'll entering to the Q&A session. So please enjoy the video first. Is there any question so far? Okay, if you don't have question, maybe I will read some question that normally asked to us about the TSN. Normally, the first question, of course, they will ask us is which product is ready that by CC-Link IE TSN. Of course, as I mentioned before in the slide presentation, we have PLC, our GOT, our servo, our inverters, and also our robotics. And then the second question will be, people will ask about, is there any special TSN switch to use for the CC-Link TSN? Yes, the answer is yes. You have to use the TSN switch. So far, there is 2 TSN switch provider. For further details, which provider supporting TSN switch, please directly send an email to us. And the last one is, of course, when we are talking about this network, does this compliant to any standard or not? Yes, our TSN is developed and compliant with the IEEE standard, which is one IEEE 802.1 AS, and the second one is IEEE 1588 V2. So this most common question that people asking about CC-Link IE TSN. Okay, so let me see. I think there's a question on the screen. Wait a while. Let me take a look. Okay, there's a question from Miss Shirley Ho. Any track record in Singapore for this product? Okay, at this moment, we don't have it on track record using the CC-Link IE TSN, but there's several projects. I mean, some requests that doing a proof of concept on the CC-Link IE TSN. This is what we can say at the moment. So basically, all in still under proof of concept on this implementation. Hope this answer is answering your question. Okay, thank you, Ms. Shirley. Is there any question from other attendants? So, if there's no question, we would like to close this webinar presentation. Thank you for attending to this webinar. Hope you guys understand and about the CC-Link IE TSN. But if you have any question or need further discussion detail on these products, you can email me, which is showing in the slide presentation. You can email me to the christian.arthur@asia.map.com. So anything that you require more detail, for example, like product information and then actual product, proof of concept, or demo show, please let us know. We will try to arrange with you all guys. So thank you once again for attending this webinar. Stay healthy, and once again, thank you.